Oh, good morning, everyone. Very nice to see you here. And I will speak about the same topic from a slightly different angle. When I was a child, I used to be that annoying type that would constantly ask why something is the way it is, or why are we doing something, and would challenge my mother, do we really have to do that? So I grew up, I remained annoying, but now I'm even more annoying because I have the experience to question the status quo and the answers that I'm getting why we're doing this. And as a taxpayer, I'm quite sensitive about all these initiatives that are being implemented, and I'm constantly trying to find ways how we can get more out of them. Because eFTI, it's too universal to just be a single-purpose tool, and I believe that we can use it as an opportunity to do much more without it. So Ieva has shown a slide with a long list of additional applications, how it could be useful. But it can also contribute to the goals of EU policy and where we are going as a continent. And I will try to give a bit of a background and to come back to the roots of transport digitalization, why has it started in the first place, and how all the little initiatives that are happening actually make sense and are getting us towards some of the goals that we have set up for ourselves as a union. So I will speak about maybe three different themes that connect together. So the first one will be a policy refresher, which policies are governing transport digitalization and what are the key aspects that we should be considering at the moment and how that relates to this new but very frequently mentioned word resilience. The second bit will be a short introduction, how policy is becoming a reality and where our projects fit in this project, in this process, and why it's a challenge or where are the interesting parts and opportunities. And the final bit will be illustration, how some of those other applications could come to life and who could be sharing what data with whom. So, the policy refresher. So you can see some of the most common buzzwords. Of course, in the age of algorithm, you can never be sure if these buzzwords are relevant to anyone else but you. And I believe that you have heard at least some of them or participate in a number of those. And sometimes seems like when you are talking to people from the initiatives that each one of them is this completely unique and interesting thing that is going to save the world, and all the other ones waste of money. But in reality, when you participate in at least a few, you see that most of them are quite nicely complementing each other and creating opportunities for synergies. But of course, as an initiative, you will always speak about yourself, that you are the latest and the greatest thing, and that's what you're doing is the most important. But let's try and connect some of the dots by remembering some of the common goals that we have. In the past, maybe like 5 or even 10 years, it depends in which modes of transport you are the most active in, we felt strong influence from the Green Deal. So transport is one of the polluters. It's no news to anyone. What digitalization is enabling is evidence with actual data who is creating the pollution and where exactly. And the pollution is one aspect, CO2 emissions is other aspect, and having means to calculate very accurately what is it that we're as a sector are creating and where we can reduce it, and to have arguments to talk to the policymakers that some effort has been made. We have reached end of our opportunities and now we need support from the state, and it's same for the authorities. Having data for discussion that still something is possible and choosing in which sectors to invest. I think it's critical going forward because we cannot talk about it just from the emotional side, but we need to use data to participate in the discussion. And it's of particular importance for Lithuania as we have to rely quite a bit on road sector from perspective of resilience. Due to historic reasons, with our railway, if you look at the map, you would see that if a single line gets disrupted, railway is out of order. And these disruptions might happen to different reasons, from just traffic accidents to some of more extreme weather events, or to some actions from not so friendly states. But our road network, it's much more developed, so we would have more alternatives how to still continue logistics and how to still continue transport of supplies on road transport. And for this reason, we need data to prove that it's still not the worst option how to transport goods, and that our road sector is really well organized and it's comparable to some of the other alternatives that might be considered more sustainable. But again, we need data to illustrate where the cargo is moving and how, to show both that it's necessary for resilience and to remain competitive. Another big one that is influencing transport, although it's not even in field of transport, is Eurofit for digital age. And it says that we are hoping for smart and innovative transport sector that makes the most out of digitalization and automation. What does it mean? It's that we, as companies and as humans, should be quite aware of what is happening and what options we have now and what opportunities are opening for us to participate in this digitalization. So it's not something that is happening in parallel to us, but it's something that is happening around us, and if we are not engaging and trying to understand why something is happening and how I can be part of it, it will happen anyway, but you might be left behind. So another policy goal is economy that works for people. So as a person, if you are able to participate in this digitalization and acquire new digital skills, in 2030 you might feel much more comfortable. Because now I think about half of adult population does not have adequate digital skills, and it's not something like writing code for AI, it's just daily use of applications and tools. And unfortunately, those keep getting more complex. And even if you are working on a laptop all day still, it might not mean that you are aware of the latest tools that might make your work or your life much more efficient. And that is also very applicable to logistics sector that is still a bit conservative because it aims to be very efficient and optimized. So a lot of solutions in logistics, they don't even rely on the latest connectivity opportunities or on latest technologies, because we need things to work. And sometimes the most simple things work the best, like paper will always be present. It does not need 4G or 5G to open. But paper is something that is very soon becoming obsolete, and we have to find ways how to efficiently move to digital. And the next 2 points are what we are as Europeans and what is our way of life and our values, how we are presenting ourselves as a continent, and how are we remaining relevant and competitive. So these initiatives that are happening at the moment, it's something really interesting from this collaboration perspective, because there's 27 of us, and I think there are even more opinions than 27 opinions how something should work or should not work. And it's really interesting to participate in some of the discussions, because the first times when you sit around a table and you come in very confident, especially if you are from the Baltics, where digitalization is already very advanced and you feel like you know the magic key to solving everything. Because of course our authorities have been doing this for like 10 years now. I forgot how paper forms or paper applications look for one thing or another. But then you realize that it's because we're quite small and we need to digitalize literally one authority. And digitalizing one authority, yes, it's an effort, but it might take a year or two, but you are there. But if you have to digitalize like 20 of them, it might be a bit more of a challenge, and suddenly your magical recipe stops working. But finding these common solutions and working towards joint goals, it's both challenging and interesting. And eFTI is one of these great examples that when it's present, we will have something we all agreed on. And apart from the custom system that has been in place for a few years now, we don't really have other examples where we as a continent were able to agree on something. So these efforts hopefully will contribute to us also being a bit more resilient and combating some of the effort to destabilize or disinform EU by sharing information that might not be accurate, by trying to avoid sanctions. So digital data might also prevent that and make us more resilient. But how is policy implemented? Because all of these policy directions, they are very nice, they are very beautiful on paper, but that's it. It's paper or a PDF document, but it's not really helping us in reality anyway. So when policy goals are established, to make them reality, there are regulations. So you're still using eFTI as an example. We have a regulation that says that you as a member state need to do A, B, C, and D, and have it ready by 2027. So sometimes it's something easy and you can do it on your own. Sometimes it's a bit more difficult. So you go into long development and piloting phase, working with 9, 10, or a few member states who have common understanding and common approach. So you are developing and piloting. That's what we are trying to do with eFTI for EU for 3 years to find solutions that work for everyone, integrate with existing systems. So that's quite extensive period of trials, errors, successes, and some pushbacks. So once you have developed and piloted, because most of these things, if it's a project-based, they produce some open source results that can contribute to the mass adoption, reducing barrier for entry, because you already get something that is pre-made, you already have knowledge of some of the lessons learned. So hopefully we will go into mass adoption. Well, not hopefully, we have to go there in 2027. And after that, we will have period of market adoption. Although authorities and businesses have some common interests, still it's a process. And maybe in 2030 or 35, we will be able to do some ex post evaluation. How is it used? Are we happy about it? And how do we want to tweak it? But this whole process, it takes at least a decade and is not the easiest one. So how can we promote it to both sides, and how can we find this why that contributes to reaching goals on both sides? So we, as projects, do quite a bit of research and discussions with the stakeholders, trying to hear both sides and to hear reasons why someone would want to use something or why they would not use some of the solutions proposed. So authorities have this goal of improving compliance and improving control of transport. They also need efficient tools that are quite easy to use, provide good information for making decisions. They need tools for better coordination between transport modes and tools for coordination between different authorities in different countries. And they need to timely share this operational information. And what businesses need is also being compliant, so not having to learn all the legislation in all EU countries. They aim to improve operation efficiency, so how they can do it the fastest way and with least effort, to have the best customer satisfaction and to save as much cost doing that as possible, and preferably real-time operation management. And these overlap quite nicely, and in the center of it we have data sharing between businesses and authorities. So some case illustrations which eFTI components could be used to share this data. So one case that is the most discussed maybe now at the moment is the emission reporting, and the same ECMR that Rudy mentioned, it creates very reliable and high quality data and huge quantities of it. So it can be used according to the ISO 14083, it could be used for reporting emissions to the authorities. Also, we can use this ecosystem for enforcement and sharing key enforcement data with the authorities, such as vehicle statuses, driver information. And the third case that I think also has a lot of potentials and now is not discussed at the moment. What digital freight data will give us is a huge quantity of routes, origins and destinations. So we will have quite good understanding where vehicles are traveling, which routes they are choosing, and what is the mobility matrix for the whole continent. And here we could immediately see if disruptions are happening. We could see what are alternative routes, if there are any, and we could use it to model a transport infrastructure and where we need to improve it. So here are some of the ideas how we can contribute to policy and how we can get the most use out of the systems that we are working so hard to develop. So thank you very much.